Morel's season has been interesting. He got called up because he was scorching hot down in AAA, cooled off a little bit, but thanks to the help of Dansby Swanson, has been able to make an adjustment. And as of late, we've seen that Christopher Morel kind of bounce back. Walk us through what you're seeing from him at the plate right now.
Yes, you know what, T-Mac, it's all about timing. You know, and as hitters, we concern ourselves so much with our swings and mechanics, and really we start spinning our wheels. But when you switch your focus to timing, things all of a sudden change. Look how ready he is to hit the elevated fastball. This is early on in the season. He's getting to that pitch as up and in with ease. There's no obstruction to his swing. When you're able to get to the elevated fastball and you give yourself enough time to hit, you're able to recognize off-speed pitches as well because there's no rush on your swing. And that's when you see how easy that stroke is through the zone, delivering that barrel to the baseball so smoothly. Look at this. Gets the stretch on time right there. Here comes delivery of the barrel to the baseball. Totally unobstructed swing through the baseball. Very healthy hack right here. Again, see that rubber band stretch? Here comes the delivery of the weight all the way through. Hitting against that firm front side. Yeah, take a deep breath because he ended up being a little bit late on the fastball, and that's when he struggled. You mentioned it, T-Mac. And then guess what happens when you're late on the fastball? You can't recognize off-speed pitches. It's a nightmare when you're late. It's timing, it's not mechanics, yeah? You're gonna shake your head a little bit, but let's get back to this. Ready, on time, is going to signify production for Morel. I envision him as a 30-homer guy perennially, and it is all gonna come down to timing. Look what he's doing right here in the first 12 games. That was lights out. He went crazy. But then the next 11 games, he kind of lost that timing that we're talking about, and he really struggled. And you're like, what's going on here? What's this ups and downs? Last 14 games, he's back to where he needs to be. And you're like, why are you succeeding? All right? Because that's the question now. Like, it's great to see the what, right? But the questions that are more compelling is how and why do you succeed? If you answered those two, then that means you can repeat it. Right? So when we're hitting and we're on time, you see that fluidity in the swing. Your mechanics get maximized, right? There's no obstruction. You just really just letting it fly, and your ability, it's really expressing itself. Your talent totally expressing itself fully at the plate and when you play. But when you're late, this is what happens, right? You're right here. Here comes the swing. Now you're late, you recognize you're late, guess what happens? You have to break down your mechanics in order to create space. You collapse on the backside, barrel goes up and out of the zone. You cannot stay through the baseball and have the high probability swing. Everything goes wrong. But what is the root of the problem? Timing. Yeah. Usually hitters, what do? We start trying to treat symptoms. Forget about treating the symptom. You know, when you see bad swings, you know, there's not your swing that you got to work on. The reason why that's happened is because you're late at the plate and your timing is off. Okay, so interesting points to bring up with the timing. That's very obvious. One of the things that Dansby Swanson told him is, hey, the best hitters load early. Early on at the beginning of the season, he was loading early, and he had noticed during that stretch when he was slumping, he wasn't loading as early. So explain what that means and the difference between when you're loading early and when you're not. This is outstanding because, look, Swanson went right where it mattered. Timing, getting ready early enough. So what does that mean? If I load, because a lot of people are like, how am I going to be ready for that fastball, right? Like, how am I going to be ready for the fastball at the top of the zone, right? And what do? We rush to it. No, that's not what we're talking about. It's what Swanson said. Get ready early enough so that you can get to that fastball. So what does that mean? If you're able to load under control, because that's the thing, you have to load and hang under control, you're going to be just fine. When you get in trouble is when you are rushing to the ball because you're late. Now you can't see, you can't recognize off speeds, and you surely cannot get your healthy swing at the baseball. So loading early is the simplest way of executing what I just explained to you. That is brilliant because Swanson is a very smart hitter, immediately says, hey, you're loading too late. You got to get started earlier, and look what happens.